Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is your host with the most, Avery LR32 here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday, because I know I am. And I just want to sit back, relax, and just focus on Yu-Gi-Oh! This weekend. I had a tiring week. Luckily it went by quick, but that's neither here nor there. I want to discuss a response, hence the deck name Response, to YATA. I've made a video about this before. I don't know why I'm making a video about this again, but it seems like people still don't get that YATA can come back. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And also, some of the other comments that I got, besides Yada not being able to come back, was, what was it? Some guy said, "You're retarded if you think Book of Moon can come back to 2. So, I want to cover Book of Moon before I get into Yada, because that's going to be very simple. Okay, what does Book of Moon do for the game if it came back to 2? Number 1. It helps stop plays. It's essentially a negation card. It stops Succeed Summons. It stops Synchro Summons. Konami's trying to push that product, yes. But don't you like to have outs to certain things? If you're a stun player, wouldn't you want to have an out to, like, say your opponent Succeed Summon, especially if that's their only option? Or their Synchro Summon, especially if that's their only option? Plus, once Pendulum Summoning comes out, you can't Book of Moon a spell card, because they're also considered a spell card. So, Book of Moon coming back to 2 would do what? Nothing. Just like Level Limit Area B, it was at 1 and it came back to 3. It did absolutely nothing because they were trying to push Exceeds because they knew the card was going to be absolute garbage. So, I just kind of wanted to put that out there real quick. But the main focus here is YATA. So, we are going to completely dissect this card. And by that, I mean, no, we're not going to dissect its price. We're going to discuss it. We're going to dissect its type, its stats, its attribute, everything. Level 2, Wind, 200 attack, 100 defense. It's a Fiend/Spirit. It's a Fiend. It does not matter. It's not going to be used in Dark Worlds. It's not going to be used in Fraternities. The main thing that we want to look at right here is the Spirit. First of all, just by looking at the card, what do you think? The Spirit deck. Duh. The Spirit deck just got a bunch of support. I think they're even getting more support in Primal Origins. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure. I don't keep up with, like, sets. It's just like once the sets come out, then I'm like, oh, okay, they've got this and stuff in here, except for like the big term names, like, you know, if it's like really blasted on YouTube, you know what I mean, like Bujin's getting support and all that. But the fact is that if you bring YATA, I'm not saying bring it back to 2 or to 3. I'm saying bring it back to 1. Bring this little purple broken ass bird to 1. That's kind of hypocritical because I'm saying come back to 1, but that's besides the point. The thing is that I get it. You know, someone commented saying that there are other ways that YATA can be abused besides CED. Okay, give me an example. You didn't give me an example, buddy. The fact that it's a Spirit, bringing it back to 1, might encourage people to try and experiment with the Spirit deck, invest in the Konami product, which is what Konami wants. So if Konami wants to push their product, then they can bring YATA back to 1 if they feel the need necessary to, and let people use the deck. Let them test out one YATA. You know, some people might just side deck 1, or they'll main deck the 1. Like, it's not coming back to 2 or 3. Bring it back to 1, see what it does. Kind of like with Cyberstein. You know, they brought that thing back to 1, and people started abusing the hell out of it. You know, Magician of Faith came back to 1. People flipped out about it. It's not a big deal. It's doing nothing. And its effect. This card cannot be special summoned, so you can't use reasoning on it and then just swing into your opponent whenever they have no field. This card returns to the owner's hand during the end phase of the turn. This card is normal summoned or foot face up, just like any other Spirit card. When this card inflicts battle damage, your opponent's life points, your opponent skips their next draw phase. Okay, cute. When are you ever going to have a Spirit monster on the field with a big enough ass to inflict damage to your opponent to get over their monsters, especially since it only has 200 attack, to get over their monster and inflict damage that make them not draw? I get it. That in itself is a broken effect. I understand. But how is that going to occur on a consistent basis, you guys? Like again, you know, I'm relating this back to Magician of Faith because Magician of Faith was the same thing. Oh, you can bring back Monster Reborn. Oh, you can bring back Dark Hole. Oh, you can bring back Heavy Storm. Oh, you can bring back this. You can bring back that. Yeah, please tell me one competitive, like top 5 deck competitive. And by top 5, I mean Mermail, Firefist, Bujin, Prophecy, and we'll throw in Cyber Dragons just because it's like one of the newest things on out there. those top 5, they don't run Magician of Faith. And those top 5 decks would not run Yata either because they can't use the card effectively. Harpies might run Yata Garasu because it's a wind and it can be used with Tempest, but it's not a wing beast, so it's not going to do anything for the deck. It's just going to be that one dead spirit card in their deck. Like it would almost be like a GX Undyne in a Harpy deck. Like it serves no purpose other than to grab a dead GX controller that's not a water, and it thins out your deck. Like that's it. Yata Garasu, you can't search it in the Harpy deck by any way. You can't special summon it by any means. So it's like you can't use Elegant Egotist on it, obviously, because that specifically says Harpy Lady Sisters or Harpy Lady. You can't abuse it with Hunting Ground. Go like, oh, summon, bounce back, summon, because it's not a Harpy. So I really don't see what the big issue is here, you guys. Like, I'm seeing this as just a terrible ass card. I literally can't think of a single situation where this card is good. Okay, you rip a Yata and you have a Dark Hole in your hand. Play Dark Hole, summon your one Yata that you happen to draw into, and attack. Your opponent has maybe one card in their hand that's completely dead against you. You scoop them up. Okay, you can say that all day. That's fine. But this is Yu-Gi-Oh! For a reason. There is luck in all card games, you guys. If that happens, you were bound to lose anyway. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! It happens. Like, remember how I got so pissed at that one regional because I lost a heavy slump against a Dragunity player last format? Because I was using Dragon Rulers? I'm not even going to get into that, but I lost a heavy slump. Heavy slump is such an old-ass card. Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's one of those things you just is out of your control. And I feel like Yata is one of those cards, If your opponent really just happens to go Dark Hole and you don't have any sort of back row, and they go summon Yata, poke for 200, and you have no response to anything, yes, you lose. I get that. Like, honestly, what would you rather have back? Would you rather have back Time Seal, which does the exact same thing as Yata Garasu, but is a trap card? Or would you rather have back something that is a monster that they have to play to the field, than if you have something like Torrential Tribute, it can get off the field? And then they can't use Call the Haunted to bring it back. They would have to use stuff like Monster Reincarnation to get it back into their hand. So again, I only see this card, if it came back to 1, being ran in the Spirit deck, just to test it out. So I don't see what the big deal is. Like, I don't see how this card's broken without CED, And CED's been banned, since the game began, practically. So if CED comes back to 1, yes, leave Yata banned for all eternity till Kingdom Come. But, you guys, this card is not busted. Its stats are god-awful. Like, okay, you're really going to tell me that you're going to somehow make an OTK-based deck where you're going to have one Yata, somehow have a good consistent draw engine of 3 Upstart and 3 Reckless, and then throw in a bunch of equip cards in order to OTK your opponent. So you're telling me that in your opening hand, you're hoping to open up 1 Yata and 5 equip cards that can make your Yata a giant behemoth for that one turn, then you lose all your equip cards? That's the only way I see Yata being broken, and that's the most inconsistent deck theory thing I've ever thought of. And I don't deck build, I'm a net decker. All of you guys know this. I net deck, and then I just edit things based upon my playstyle. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's pretty much it on Yata. This thing can come back to 1, this dumbass bird. Like, this would do nothing for the game. All this would do is make people try and play the Spirit deck, and then once they realize that Yata is crap at 1, then they'd stop playing it. Simple. And then if Konami were to, for some reason, bring it back to 2, that'd be fine too. It would just make the Spirit deck have a bit more consistency to get the Yata. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm currently at 368 subscribers, so if you could please do me a huge favor and like this video, and spread it around to all your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your grandma, your great-grandma, your grandpa, your teachers at your school, I don't know, your workmates, I don't know. Just, if you wouldn't mind spreading around the video, leaving it a like, a favorite helps as well. And thank you for subscribing. I really want to try and get to 400 subscribers. So I can catch up to Gage. I'm really falling behind. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and let me know about what you think about Yata Garasu in the comments down below. Goodbye.